Chris, given the nature of the Watford win, has it been a sort of buoyant colony over the last couple of days?
Yeah, well, we were they were all pretty tired on Wednesday. Came in for recovery. They were off on Thursday and of course in today. So yes, it's you expect that. It was a good win, and certainly the manner in which we had to come back was a good way to come back.
Yeah, 3 game weeks are always difficult, but does the Stoke game, with it being on a Sunday, is that sort of a bit of a help for you?
Well, we hope so, and the fact that we played on a Tuesday, there's no doubt that when you play 120 minutes, and then physically it's more demanding. There's no doubt about that. So we've had to make sure that we give them good rest over the last 2 days. Train today, and the week ends up being a little bit of a different week. Because of the nature of the extra time, and so but I think the fact that the game's on a Sunday, I think that'll help.
Talk about the injuries first. Seb remains a doubt, you said, but good news is that Ricky will be back.
Ricky's back, which is good news. Seb, as I said, we're still giving him right up until the last moment, but at this moment he's still very doubtful.
And the 2 players who made the headlines on Tuesday, Gary Hooper and Josh Murphy, we understand they're to be included in the squad as well.
Yeah, both in the squad, and delighted with what Gary was able to give us, and possibly he might be the only one that perhaps really benefited from the extra time. The fact that he hasn't played so many minutes since the injury, and of course Josh's performance, I think, warrants an inclusion in the squad. Not only I think Tuesday night, but his form leading up to that.
Yeah, Leroy said Josh has been training more and more with the first team. I mean, how much of an impact has he had on the lads?
Well, he's a talented young player, but that's what he is. He's a young player. We need to make sure and look after him very well, harness him well, and make sure that we work on his development here. But a performance on Tuesday night, has perhaps lifted, I suppose, the expectations a little bit on what people that hadn't seen him before, but it's something that's it's the first steps, and we need to make sure to look after all these steps.
Big changes at Stoke over the summer. Matt, what do you make of their start to the season?
Well, I think the changes are more, of course, from a managerial point of view, and the way that they're playing. There is some differences, I think, in the way they're playing and what they were under Tony, who had a very, very successful period there. So I don't think that changes anything dramatic. The personnel, apart from probably 1 or 2 players, it's the same personnel that was there last season. He's perhaps just using them in a little bit of a different way, but that's of course the prerogative of the manager. But they're a side that, of course, that are used to finishing in decent positions in this league. It'll be a tough game for us, but it is an opportunity for us to go and get points, as is every game.
Britannia Stadium has always traditionally been a very tough place to go. Do you think there's a chance that might have diminished slightly given that Tony Pulis left?
No. If I'm asked to speak about Stoke, I don't see any difference in the levels of last season to this season. I think they've started well. Their style of play is a little bit different. They've got some very good players, but the game has really got to be about us. We know about them, and we know that if we give them opportunities, that they'll take them. But the game has to be about us and playing well enough to get points from the game.
And finally, Chris, David Fox has moved to Barnsley on a 93-day emergency loan. A good move for David, to a chance to get some football.
Yes, it is, and it's been tough for David, I must admit. But right the way through it, he's been an excellent professional in training. Never let himself down on the training pitch. Played in a game here, actually, a development game on Monday, which I think that he will benefit from that. I think having gone, and we have an option, of course, as with all 93-day loans to bring back if we needed to after 28 days, but I think that the whole exercise is about him going and getting games.